English language can be most explained easily as saying unconditional love for all beings everywhere, without one exception being the master key to the universe. To embody this frequency is to embody the frequency of the heart. And to embody the frequency of the heart is to become the very smallest, most centered frequency there could ever possibly be, and also the most expansively aware frequency there could possibly ever be. The very beginning, the very end, to come into the largest of perspectives. And this is necessary for us throughout the entirety of our eternities, for all of us to liberate into our limitless state. As long as we stay in rigidity, that rigidity will have to be broken and fallen away until we can rise, as everything is constantly rising simultaneously together. And consciousness at this moment is rising, and so are we too also it. No matter what it may seem as if we are doing by our comparison to one another, we're all rising quite equally together, learning different pieces of the story, different pieces of the puzzle, coming into a great fullness of understanding and knowing, and each one of us can tap into this at any moment. It's very, very easy to do this motion. It's really something that's happening naturally, and so it's really just tapping into the awareness of what's already occurring right now, already on its own. It's always been occurring. It was through the expression of all my frequencies that I was able to finally release me, what was left of Ryan, and release my male gender. And in the space that was in between the left and the right, the male and the female, I saw the thoughts pass by that would have maybe shaken somebody off of the center, or myself, I mean. But I had no ability to grasp onto the thoughts. I just rested in the center of awareness and aware of all the things occurring around me. And one of the thoughts was, would I still have a penis? Releasing male gender. And would Ryan still be here? Like, I don't know, what would happen to him, I guess. But it's a funny question to see pass by. I guess if I would have been curious about the question actually, it would have led into all kinds of possibilities and answers that would have led me away from the center of my frequency and far from the realization of that understanding that was happening to me, that I was embodying, that was occurring on its own, really, as I had surrendered to a place that moved me to that point of positioning to be perceiving those things, witnessing those things. At that time, a male and a female reflected the left and the right to me. She was my right and he was my left. He was talking constantly, trying to figure it out, really worried, really troubled. And he left before she did. She was quiet, silent, really just holding space. And she left far after him, but still, she left before I left. And after she had left was the heart. And she even asked before she left, is it okay for me to go? A quick nod. She left, how sweet, The male and the female, him in the beginning, her at the end. And then all that was left was the heart, him and her together. In between space, the raw energy baby, pure energy itself, the moment without hesitation. The moment that no longer left any parts of itself in separation and dissonance and suppression and banishment in any way. The part that had finally included all of itself, even in its male and female nature androgynous, spinning them together, its right into its left, into a sphere in front of it, and resting in between. It was so gorgeous, so amazing. What a phenomenal blessing to understand all these things, to feel the frequencies of anger, hate, wrath, and mercy, or whatever else it was, forgiveness, see the entire line, from the beginning and end of its toroidal field string, from the center of its toroidal field strand that spanned throughout all of eternity, I guess perceivably, or since the beginning of me to the end of me, which was seemingly centered on that possible positioning where that was occurring. Upon expressing all of these energies, it finally allowed the higher chakra center energies to be expressed. Bliss and happiness, amazing gratitude, so many amazing lines, but they seem to be expressed kind of the same as the other things, except they expressed much more quickly. And once they were done expressing, then male gender could be released, and Ryan could be released, and the female could come in, and they could become married, and the mother could show herself, And she was the only thing in which had wrath, thinking of all the imagery of all of her baby's suffering. And that was every being entirely, every single being at all, whether it seemed to be an enemy or a friend. That was all the mother's children. She struck a water bottle that was in front of me. Who even knew how it got in front of me? I don't know. Did they set it in front of me during the ceremony? Nothing else was struck. Anger didn't struck anything. Wrath didn't struck anything. Hate didn't struck anything. But the mother struck something. And I thought it was really poetic and amazing to speak of a wrathful compassion and how it will reach out with its hand and remove forcefully the obscurations from the Bodhisattva's path. And how graciously has it done this for me constantly. And perceivably, it's constantly doing that to everything as well. But for its highest benefit. Sadly, gratefully, amazingly, phenomenally, exquisitely, beautifully, and very perfectly. It was amazing as I had moved towards singularity and opened up what I was calling the Merkaba, or really the image on my hand, which was the tree of life, had opened up within me. And so it's a very beautiful, amazing imagery and energetic body that seemed to open up. I could explain in specificity what it was I experienced and even draw it out to articulate that it was similar in nature, but without all of the points becoming aware. Very, very beautiful, this. When I was able by myself to bring myself up and move after releasing pain, or doing my best to release pain after I was told by myself I didn't need to do anything anymore, I was good to go. And I was still proceeded to do many other things, thinking, well, you know, I'm here already, I might as well keep going. And I ended up getting up, and I had to bring my voice back to me, and I had to bring it through all kinds of digital tones and sounds and languages, all kinds of different languages, a Japanese language who spoke of the sky, and had something really beautiful to say about the sky. I'm not sure what he was saying, but it seemed really sweet. And yeah, I was really happy as to be able to express the saying of it. And a Hawaiian man who turned back towards the island and yelled towards the bushes and the trees, and he was like yelling, kind of warrior style. I don't know what he was yelling, but he seemed kind of like a chief or something, like he was yelling something very specifically. Kind of made me feel like, you know, kind of like embarrassed to be doing it, more like bashful, like, oh geez, this is a strong expression, little Ryan, what are you doing? You know, if somebody hears you doing this, maybe they'll come and check you out, bro. Like, I mean, it seemed like I was the most powerful being on the planet at the time, but, you know, I could still be quite meek and humble, which was maybe a reason why it was more easy to come into such a place of subtlety for me than it may be for other beings that may be more boisterous, confident, arrogant, or, you know, forceful. I really had to surrender into it. It kind of had to just happen upon me spontaneously, accidentally almost. It happened a day in which I believed it couldn't happen, after really thinking it was going to happen, and then just believing it probably couldn't happen that day, and then coming to the last chord shapes of unity in which I needed to do within me, which were asking for forgiveness and confessing myself even though I didn't have to, and because nobody would know what I thought, but I confessed it anyway, even without anybody knowing. I did it anyway, and I asked for apology, or I asked for, you know, forgiveness, and I did that unconditionally. She didn't have to forgive me. And then I asked for a massage, which I don't ever ask for anything, and so that was really beautiful. And then I received for the first time of my knowing, and at least during the ceremony, unconditional love from another being that was apparently everlasting. It unlocked my frequency, and unlocked my spine, caused me to cry, and I began repeating myself constantly, repeatedly, over and over and over again. Thank you, this is all I ever needed. Thank you, this is all I ever needed. Thank you, this is all I ever needed. And for me, she was my Lord and Savior. She was like Jesus to me. Her name is Crystal Gale or something like that. I don't know. Amazing being. She was like a drunken person. They would like yell at her boyfriend and all kinds of domestic violence issues. And holy crap. Every time I saw her after that with other people, I'd point her out. Like, you see that girl right there? That girl saved my life. That one right there. I knew they'd never believe it, but she's the hero. She's the Buddha. She's Jesus. Oh my goodness. She set me free. It was because she gave me that unconditional love, like the first time I'd ever received it from the female, it seemed, or something. And It was all I ever needed. That very small act, just that little act of giving from wisdom to compassion, and bam, got it. It was so beautiful. I realized I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't need to do anything. I thought I had to go to Haleakala inside the crater in order to have it happen. Then I realized it could happen right then and there, right where I was. And so it did. Blew my lotus fully. Afterwards, I went to a Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center and I played my flute just because I felt like it in front of the stupa. It was right at the end of their practice, at the time of Sagadawa, the time of the Buddha's birthday, the Buddha's death, and the Buddha's enlightenment, all the same day. And they saw as an auspicious sign that the Buddha was pleased, and I thought that was really sweet. I went to a meditation in there, and I was laughing at the chord shapes because I thought it was talking about me. I was like, he was talking about being beautiful so that it can bring teachings and harmony to other things, the Bodhisattvic vow and prayer, for his rebirths, so that it could help other beings. And I thought that maybe the Lama, might think it was weird. I was like laughing, I'm not like the greatest practitioner at that time, but I was like, oh shoot, it's talking about me. I know it for sure. Maybe it's arrogant, who knows? But I was just so happy and in the center of my awareness, in between, in the heart of all that is, without any thoughts hitting me at all, without any judgments to come through. I left out, and I was with this monk guy, this living Dharma volunteer dude who wore robes, and the Lama comes out and says to me, "You have a wicked mind." And I was like, "Oh shoot." I was like, yeah, I acted like I knew what he was talking about, but I was just so like, caught off guard and shocked, I wish I could have went more authentic with, what do you mean? Tell me more, I know what it means, I have a awakened heart, I mean, I knew that I had awoken my heart, I knew it was true, but I just wish I would have brought it in with another groove, at that time I was still wishing to be seen in a certain way that wouldn't just let me be me. Or maybe that was what it was perfectly efficiently. I don't know. It was amazing though. I didn't really understand what it meant fully. It was amazing, to have those things happen. And at that point, all of consciousness had moved me and I got moved into emptiness. And then I thought that I was doing things after that, but it's obvious that I've never been a doer, and that nothing is. And so it's wonderful to have the great many experiences that have come after it, that I got moved in this place of confusion or perfection to understand what's happening within the reflections, within all of our reality, within spiritual ego mentalities, within these spiritual communities, and everything happening really in huge ways. To know how to route ourselves in wonderful manners through the route of pure expression and awareness, through intention and dedication, through releasing the stories of purity and impurity, and really moving to a place of utter authenticity, and releasing from ourselves the attachments and the grasping that would cause us to see anything to be true illusory, and to be true that is illusory. Yeah, it's been hard days, moving through hurts and pains. I know we're changing view for a second here. Changing the song, moving along. Watching a lot of different things that have to come with it when it comes to this channel and the videos, and how it feels to be channeling on the video and the channeling after the video without the video, and the differences between these chord shapes and what to seem to be authentically beneficial or what seemed to be actually helpful or not. And I think it's really interesting, we seem to be moving through a lot of different things all the time, a lot of the same wisdom over and over again in different ways, or very similar ways as well. But I do like these wisdoms. I know that they're all different teachings and experiences and channelings and unique to their moments that they're within. I want to really bring us into more understandings and teachings. And I'm glad that this teaching did come through, the one about the male and the female. I'm sure that more can be expounded upon. There's a lot more detail that can be shared, and a lot more that can be understood in feeling and in motion and in breath. I really do want to get into a place where I'm moving my body entirely, constantly, with the entirety of the teaching and this video reality channeling that's happening. Because you'll see as we unite more of the centers together, it becomes easier and easier to stay within the center of our frequency, within the authentic expression that's coming through us, and really coming to us to be brought through us to benefit whatever moment we're in ourselves entirely. And it can be difficult, finding the right thing to say here or there, identifying with the teacher or the master, and then finding it harder to allow mistakes to happen, and so a rigidity happens to the chord shape and the syllable structure. It's hard to become looser and looser and looser and looser and looser. But I'm glad, really, because, at times I get doubtful and insecure, and I get a rigidity and agitation within me, thinking that there not be a reason for the videos in some way. Like, oh man, I don't know, is this really going to go through? We've only been here a few days, but I like the trust that's there with it, the confidence that's there together with all of the other frequencies, so that all of these frequencies can simply be talked about as a teaching and as a wisdom, and not be seen as mistakes, but accents to the musical chord shape, which we can now all relate and understand that we are, here together in ordinary, and that we are sharing in the same frequencies within our journeys, the same feelings, the same emotions, the same shadows, and that we can move through them quite easily together. We can help strengthen one of each other's structure, but that we don't have to hold on to each other, that we can help each other stand strong and self-sustain, that we don't need anything to help us stand anymore, but we can help each other grow and show through the reflection that is our mirror, what is happening here, that we see something that relates to us truly, and that we don't constantly get the viewing of lie constantly perpetuated towards us. For me, I just got through years and years, as I was telling you, spiritual ego, years and years of liars, of people that just weren't able to be honest with one another, honest with themselves. And being somebody that is able to be honest with themselves, none then did their frequencies really relate to me, except for indirectly, how I could see actually the truth that they were saying, even through their lying. And so I was still getting the truth, but not really the way that it made sense for me. It always seemed in dissonance with my frequency. Why is this coming in directly? Why is this coming in a riddle-like way? Why is this coming so strange and roundabout when I'm so direct with everything? I mean, I really do reap what I sow, so what could I possibly be sowing? And it's the indirectness of my nature that wouldn't allow me just to call a spade and leave the ignorant compassion that was keeping me in slavery to the service of the liberation of their beings, when it was not that they wished to be. That they wished to continue to be in lying-like realities, and that's beautiful, no problem. But at that time, I needed to grow, and that was no longer the mirror that would show me what I needed to see in order to come sustainably within me. And so I finally went to Mount Shasta into centering after 4.5 years on Maui. Now I'm going to go return to Maui. I'm not extremely excited. I feel like it's a great agitation and dissonance, kind of like it's a slavery and an imprisoning to me. But I don't really have much of a choice, as I really don't feel like being freezing, and I wish to walk with my bare feet. And there's just only one place I really could do that big, and that's under this bridge. It's going to get colder and colder. My feet will be colder and colder, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it throughout the entirety of the winter. So I'd rather be in the sun, on the beach, naked, and splintering the heels of my feet, winter tundra-like conditioning. It actually probably is quite mild and meek winter over here. I might could make it, but maybe not. I guess I'm going to Maui. We got a bus ticket and a hotel. We're gonna go shower and make love and fuck and say all the things that we can say to unlimit our expression today. And I don't know. We're gonna go have an amazing time. He may not actually do those things. The look on her face makes it look like I should shoot myself in my own, but maybe not. No, she smiles. That's complete incorrect interpretation of what her face was looking like. She is the most sexy, amazing being in the world. I love her so much. her state of realization, the deep love and compassion, the most amazing way in which she shows me just everything in the greatest manner. I'm so happy with the clearness of this mirror that's been given me as I came into such an amazing utter specificity with me to be able to bring upon myself a manifestation of someone who aligned with me perfectly. Thank goodness. Here we go. We keep on growing and going and glowing. We are the greatest of this. Knowing, showing, glowing, knowing, going, owing. A lot of rhymes in that way. Which brings me to a problem I was having before, to where I'm getting the talking channel and the rhyme channel mixing themselves together. Now that's tough, because I'm not following then the rhyme channel. I'm trying to do the talking channel, but the rhyme channel's there, so we have two things happening. So I'm like, okay, do I need to go into the rhyme channel more? But you see, I haven't worked on the rhyme channel for a long time because I get all shy and bashful and ashamed and like, holy shit, this is sounding kind of good. Oh, I want to lead it somewhere. And then I fuck it all up by leading it somewhere. So it's tough to get out of your own way there. So as I'm breathing, it's about really just like breathing. And as you watch the syllable structure of a word, sentence, or whatever, you may want to lead it to where you think it should go. And that's wonderful. Maybe you are right 90% of the time, or 1% of the time, or 10% of the time, or 100% of the time. Who knows for sure? If you're right 100% of the time, just keep doing that. But for me, it turns out that forcing and controlling and manipulating myself in any manner, I'll notice it real quick though, like a few words in or whatever, at most, typically. It leads to just this weird stagnation, limiting frequency to where now I have to balance on the intelligence of my own mind and its ability to then put patterns together quickly and efficiently, which isn't very fast. It's like not as fast as the moment. The moment can go as fast as you've heard me do the light language. You can do that with English, but it's really difficult for me knowing what the words are to not observe them and get out of my own way to allow them to come out like as efficiently as the light language does. Like that shit's insane. That's amazing. So I got to figure out a way to do that, obviously, and it's actually quite easy. It's by trusting and doing it diligently in a long duration of time. The more that I get my entire body and being into something, it actually really rapidly accelerates me into a frequency that is actually holding itself much more sustainably than previously. So it just takes every day, all day, working on it in some way. Maybe your muscles can't keep moving this way, but you can work on your toes. Maybe your toes are hurting, but you can work on your throat. You can breathe. You can do a great many different things to bring you here, present now, not leaving the moment. And it's also a practice, so we work up to it. Okay, you can only go 10 minutes, no problem. Maybe you can only go 10 minutes for 10 years. I will say that you're a lazy motherfucker. That's because you have never added 1 minute to the practice, and I can't believe you plateaued at 10 minutes. But that's okay, no big deal. You're perfect. No reason to judge you. But maybe if you've really done it for 10 years, for 10 minutes a day, like why not just like do it for fucking an entire day once? Like, isn't that like the equivalent of the 10 years of meditation you've done anyway? I mean, probably not. I understand 10 years is a long time. Every day, 365 times 10. I mean, what, 3,650? So yeah, I mean, you've practiced a little bit. Actually, a day might beat you. Practice a whole day. I don't know. How many minutes is in a day? That actually might be pretty close to how many minutes are in a day.
So it's 60 times 12.
Oh, it's 365 times 10 times 10 though, right? Yeah. Anyways, doesn't matter. We're not mathematicians over here. We're not intellectuals. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about consciousness writes itself, and you got to get out of your own way. Actually, you really don't have to do anything. You're totally good to go no matter what you're doing. So good job. Love you. But for me, it's about getting out of my own way in a certain sense. Where a guy recently, as I was doing that, but I was in some of the greatest flows of my life at that time. And I told him, I just got to get out of my own way. But I was super getting out of my own way. He was like, bro, you are the way. And I'm like, bruh. I was, yeah. Yeah, it's super cool. It's super fun. Anyway. This thing is no longer hot. I talk for so long every freaking time. Why are you so far away here? Here we go, baby. Ugh. That's how you lazily grab something right there. If you guys were wondering how to lazily grab something, you just fall to your side onto a boot that you have strategically placed to not get sand on your elbow, because who wants that? Who wants sand on your elbow when you sleep on sand under a bridge? Nobody. I believe a homeless guy used to piss over here every night. But hopefully on the rocks. Anyways. Jeez. Cliff Bar, anyone? So yeah, we're having a good time. I really just felt like we were kind of bored. And like, why are we waiting for the day to go away when we could be channeling all day? I mean, I guess, God, it's like, once I do something really good, I don't want to fuck it up. And then I want to make sure everything like falls into line with it. But, I mean, that's kind of forming things in a way. So I think it'd be good just to allow a looser focus. And so that's what I'm talking about here, about how the channel becoming more and more and more relaxed. It can be very difficult. Like right now we're eating popcorn. You know how hard that is to do, man? So tough, bro. Look at this. Oh.